Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Tech with Christian. In today's video, I'll show you how you can use Watchdog to watch your logs from your ASP.NET Core Web API in a modern way. It can also be an ASP.NET Core Web app, like an MVC application. It doesn't matter what it is, either of them. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to watch your logs through your browser in a modern way. Not JSON files, text files, CSV, or an SQL database like we used to do it before. So this is exactly what you're going to see. In your browser, you will have three tabs. You got the request logs, exception logs, and you got the encode logs. If you go to the request logs, I have just done some testing, and this is to show you what it will look like in your browser. So at the top, you got the option to select what kind of request has been made to your API or your MVC application. And you can also see the status code that has been replied from the API. And also you will be able to search your application. And there we go. So let's search for that. And as you can see, I got 4 of these with a status 200 from the weather request. This is real time showing. So if I went to Swagger UI and I made a request, we can actually go back and see that we got a new request from this. So if you're ready, let's get started. So to get started, we have to go to my website, or you can search up the official documentation for the Watchdog NuGet package. But the first thing you have to do is, of course, have a ASP.NET Core project. But you need to install the watchdog.net NuGet package inside your project. I'll be using this guide as a cheat sheet for this video. It's the one available at my website, and I'll also post a link in the description below, so you can just go and reference it. But the package we're using for this tutorial is this one, watchdog.net. And as you can see, it's just a real-time message event, HTTP request and response, and exception logger and viewer for ASP.NET Core Web apps and APIs. So this means that you can also use it for your MVC application and APIs. And I really like that because it makes it much modern. It makes a much modern way to view the logs, but also to add easy logging to your application. So let's head back to my website, and we have to just install this package. I have cheated a little. I have created a new Watchdog demo project. And the only thing I've done is just added the package to my application. So if you go to browse and you search for watchdog.net, it should show up as this one. And you'll just have to mark it and just add the package. I've been using the latest stable version for this video. You might have a newer version when you're watching this video. So just install that package, and inside your program.cs file, you have to reference the package watchdog that we just installed. And beneath the add Swagger generation for the application, we have to add the Watchdog service. So we have to register the service to make the logging available. And also one of the tabs I showed in the introduction of this video was the encode logs and exception logs. So you will have to, right beneath the builder.build command, we have to say app.use watchdog exception logger. And this is the one making the exception logs available throughout our application inside Watchdog Web UI. And just below that, we have to say that we would like to use Watchdog. And for this demo, I have just added username and password as admin. And that's actually all the stuff you need for Watchdog to run inside your application. So let's start up this application and see what it looks like. So I'm just booting up this application, and as you can see, we got our Watchdog demo. This is just a Swagger endpoint we already know from so many tutorials. And as you can see, we just get the default 5 weather forecasts from the application. These are of course just random data. So to use the Watchdog interface, we just have to add Watchdog at the end of our domain name. So we're gonna say localhost : 7063, because that was the port of my application, watchdog. I'll type in this. And as you can see, this is the web UI interface for Watchdog. And we configured this application demo with admin. So just hit the login button. And right here, you can see, oops, not now. And as you can see here, I've been testing this for some time. And this is just a demo application. I haven't implemented any exceptions or in-code logs. We could easily do that. But for this tutorial, I'll only show the request logs. So this is the one I just made before. And if we open it up, we can see that the request body is empty. And that means nothing has been passed when the request was made to the API. But we made a response to the client. And that's the one you see here. So you will be able to go back in time and see what the responses from your web API was. And I really like that feature. Also the request. So if you have a client contacting you and saying that I sent this request and I got an error in return, and the client is not able to provide the payload they sent to your API, you will be able to go back and see what they actually sent at that time. They just have to reference the time frame where they did it, and then you can search it up. And in the request header, you're also able to view all the parameters that has been set inside the header, and also if you made a response header to the client. And that's basically it. If we go to the top, we will of course be able to filter all the post or get or put, patch, delete operations against our API, and also the response code we have sent in return. So this was a status 200. What if I would like to see only status 301? So these are provided right here. And as we can see, there's no request. But of course, there is also no response body because it was the 301. So if we go back and just view all, you will have all your logs right here. And there will also be paging to make it more performance-wise good. And you can clear the logs manually from this button. If you want to, inside the application, you will be able to configure a schedule for clearing your logs. And I'll show you how that works right now. So to get the most from Watchdog, I have added a section on the website, and you will be able to make automatic clearing of your logs by schedule. Inside our application where we configured the username and password, we are able to add a schedule for clearing our logs. So this is the code for doing that. And we can do it in 4 different ways. We can do it at daily basis, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. I like for my demo applications or my testing applications to have it done daily. And then for production, I like the quarterly because then I can go back in time and see what happened at runtime. So let's make a new line and paste the code in. You can copy it from my website, or you can just type in this. And these are enums. So if we just click the control space, we will get the options to select what we would like right here. So I'll just say I would like the daily wise, and also I change this to ops. So we need to figure that as well. And oops, so there's no suggestions. And why is it saying the Watchdog ops model does not contain a definition for this auto clear? And on my website, I have done the oh, sorry, I made a mistake. We have to do this inside the service registration. So that is right here. So let's say settings, and we would like this. There we go. Let's change the ops to settings, and there we go. Clear time schedule. Oops, I made a typo. There we go. So when we start up our application now, we have set an auto clearing schedule up for the daily purpose schedule. And if we go to our Watchdog and we sign in, we should see that the logs are still there, and we don't want to save these. If we were having the application running overnight, it would clear the log totally when we head back tomorrow. And that's just the way you can set up scheduling inside your application. If you would like to blacklist some of the endpoints inside your application, you can also do that under the use Watchdog service. And right here you can say settings.blacklist, and then you could add some keywords, comma separated. And these can be for some keywords, but also for the endpoints you got. And I really like this because you can filter out user or credential details. These would of course be shown in your header if you got the basic auth running, and you will be able to see the data from the users, and I don't want to do that due to security concerns. So I will always add the sign-in and password reset and all these endpoints inside a blacklist of this, of course. If you want to, you're also able to forward the logs to an external database. I really like this option because most of the time I won't be having the logs inside my production application. I like to store them in a central place. And this can be done in either PostgreSQL, MySQL, and MS SQL. I have added the options at the website, so you can just copy and paste for each of the SQL providers into your own application. And if you need to, you can also check out the connection strings for each of the database providers that has to be used. And you would just need to store these inside the program.cs or inside a configuration file that you are then referencing inside your application. So this was a quick guide, and I hope you have learned a lot on Watchdog. It's very easy to get started with and configure for your .NET 6 web application. If you got any questions, please leave them below in the comments, and I will of course answer them as soon as possible. And until next time, just make some awesome code and have it nice. Bye bye.